for O'Gorman or for extracurricular activities. This goes into the general fund, and as you heard Ryan say, $90,000 is a lock. As a matter of fact, they're going to be very close to $100,000 in fundraising for tonight.
And you see all this following. You have this following. You said they've been running the offense since the 4th grade. I don't want to call it a cult, but it is somewhat of a religion over here, O'Gorman football.
It certainly is, and one of the things that's very interesting this year, Ron Lamberty, who is the Dakota Bowl chairman, Ron actually was the starting center in the second, I believe, or third Dakota Bowl for O'Gorman. He was wearing number 54. Tonight, his son Zach is the starting center, wearing number 54 for the O'Gorman Knights. There are an awful lot of kids who are now in their second generation of playing O'Gorman football.
Well, you're taking a look at the Knights. Yes, that is O'Gorman. If you're just tuning in, Charlie Finley did not buy the team and give them Oakland A's uniforms from the 70s, and the Washington Warriors are not wearing the Baltimore Orioles jerseys from the 80s. This really is going to be green and orange tonight. Jordan Nordquist and Austin Parks are the captains. Meanwhile, for O'Gorman, captains Joe Mahoney, Will Kappenman, Chris Buller, and Jared Kantak. So they will meet at midfield for the ceremonial coin toss. Coin toss has already been performed. Everybody, at least they know who gets the ball. We don't.
That's right, but this is what's going to let the crowd know, and us as well. And again, excellent turnout over on that Washington side of the field as well, as the folks are still continuing to come in, and we're still a couple of minutes away from kickoff. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet a lot of folks will be coming in during the course of that entire first quarter.
Not exactly a long trip the Washington folks had to make either.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Of course, last night here on PAG's 18th Day Wide, we had a good one. It was Roosevelt and Lincoln. The Rough Riders won that one 14-12. Lincoln had some kicking woes that hurt them on the extra point.
Did see too the importance of experience on that offensive line. The folks from Roosevelt really took over offensively in that second half, and it was all due to the line giving Derek Failer time to throw the ball.
And the result of the toss, the Washington Warriors will be kicking to O'Gorman. So the Knights put Tom Hill and the offense on the field to start the game. I think if you're O'Gorman, that's what you want to do. You want to get out, get some points early.
You better believe it. Anything that you can do to get this crowd fired up and behind you. And also, the Knights have been struggling scoring points. As we say, last week they pick up the win over Roosevelt, but that was a 12-7 victory. One of those touchdowns was a fumble return. They would really like to come out and establish their offense early.
And they only beat Spearfish 20-14 in the opener, so you're only talking 32 points in 2 games, but they've only given up 21. That is why they're 2-0. Washington, they looked very good and played the regulars only for a quarter against Rapid City Central. Struggled before beating Lincoln 21-13 in week 2, but they do come in as 2 of the only undefeated teams in AA. I don't have the exact number, but there aren't many of them.
No, there aren't. Brookings stayed undefeated. Yankton stayed undefeated, although Yankton had to come from behind last night. And a lot of folks are saying that maybe that Yankton Buck team should be considered as the top team in the state right now. But Washington would sure like to establish themselves tonight.
Well, all the coaches around the state certainly talking up the Warriors this season. We will find out right about now here on PAG's 18. The kick is going to come from Peter Larson. Make that Chris Hansen, who boots it deep, but not that deep. Taken at the 16-yard line by O'Gorman. A little bit of room, and the Knights will set up shop at the 31 after the return by one of the upmen, John Lyons.
He helped sing the national anthem for tonight's game.
Let's take a look quickly at the O'Gorman Knight offense. We're going to start in the backfield with junior Tom Hill. He's got Glenn Cicero and John Lyons behind him, along with Will Kappelman, Joe Mahoney, one of the split ends. Let's show you the rest of the offense. That line after the first down play, 1st and 10 for the Knights from the 21-yard line. Hill hands off on the little end around to one of the wings. That is Lyons, who picks up about 2, be 2nd and 8. Now let's show you the guys up front, which Mike said are so key to the Knights' success tonight. The tackles, Jared Kantak and Matt West. The guards, Tyson Bay and Dana Kinsella. The center, Zach Lamberty, who Mike alluded to, Chris Buller, the tight end, and the front five, the big story tonight, Mike.
You bet it is. If those guys can hold off the defensive line, Rob Stork, Ryan Schuler.
Like it might have been a little bit of a busted play. He keeps it, doesn't even get back to the line of scrimmage. So O'Gorman quickly in 3rd and 8. Let's introduce you to the Washington defense before O'Gorman has to possibly punt it away. Up front, there is the line Mike just talked about. Stork, Aware, Barnes, Ryan Schuler going to Oklahoma next year. Not officially, but he has verbally committed to Bob Stoops' club. Let's show you the linebackers and the defensive backs. John Bull, Travis Harzma, Austin Parks, very good linebackers. And in the defensive backfield, the corners, Ryan DeVries and Brian Routh, Colin Zennick and Mitch O'Connor. The safeties. Hill is going to throw just wide of his intended receiver. That was Joe Mahoney. Mahoney was open in the secondary.
Mahoney had an opportunity there. He had found the seam in the defense, but the pass just a little bit wide, and it's going to be 3 and out for the O'Gorman Knights.
So exactly the start that Kim Nelson would like to see. And
he was talking about that last week, that very point, that he had no idea what kind of team he had even after the first game of the season.
Nordquist back to return the punt along with Ryan Routh. The kick comes from Tom Hill, who's also the quarterback. Routh bobbles it, picks it up at the 20. Right up the gut to the 35, 15-yard return. Tackle made by O'Gorman's Glenn Caro.
And that was a rocket by Hill, a great punt. Drove the receiver all the way back to the 20-yard line, but now the offense for Washington takes over.
Well, let's meet that offense. Nick Hobb at quarterback, John Bull, who ran for 68 yards and a touchdown on his first carry of the season, Jordan Nordquist, and Garrett Hansen also in the backfield. Dan McKay, Grant Wilson, Luke Sharp, and Chip Nail among those guys up front. Washington sets up shop at the 35, first down. Last year, hand up right up the middle to Bull. First man through, and let's see where they'll spot him, about the 37, gain of just 2. Now, let's show you the O'Gorman defense quickly up front. It's Lyons, Suka, Kantak, and Buller. A lot of those guys play both ways. Show you the rest of this defense: Mahoney, Wilka, Mahoney, and Kappenman, the linebackers. In the backfield, Cole McClung, Tom Hill, and Kikero. Once again, O'Gorman playing a lot of guys on both sides of the ball.
They do. Washington will actually keep a lot more players to just go one way.
Keeps it on the option up to the 45. Very close. I think he's got enough for a first down.
One person to keep an eye on tonight is the left tackle. That is J.J. Hayden, starting in place of Chip Nail, who was injured last week. Coming in for the junior Nail, he's about 6'5" and 225, so that is a nice man to be able to plug in. And you see, he was one of the men who actually threw a key block on that attempt at the first down.
Hayden helping pave the way. And they are measuring for the first down. Washington has it. No, they don't. They missed it by 2 inches. So third down and just a couple of inches. I enjoy looking in the Washington huddle, Mike, because Ryan Schuler is about a head taller than anyone else in that huddle.
And you get all the way down to the center when you have Schuler at 6'7", and you've got Sharp essentially 5'9". You're right. It is very odd to see.
There you see Schuler over at his right tackle spot. You'll see him run behind him a lot tonight, but that entire offensive line, big and tough. Hobb now on 3rd and inches. Down by number 70, that is defensive tackle Josh Mahoney.
Josh Mahoney with the nice play there. Mahoney, of course, was the star of last week's win for O'Gorman. He was the man who returned to the fumble and scored the touchdown. There you see a nice fake by Hobb. He'll take it right off of Ryan Schuler's side. Mahoney finally able to wrestle him down.
So Washington already with a first down on its initial drive into O'Gorman territory at the 48. Barking out the singles with that double wing behind him. 2 wideouts, both to the left. and goes in motion, but they'll hand it to the fullback, John Bull. Who knows where they'll give him forward progress. He was stopped 2 or 3 separate times. I think they'll spot him right back at the original line of scrimmage, the 48.
John Bull did an awful lot of spinning there, and I'm not sure that he ended with it. They'll try to go off the left side. It looks like there's a hole for a moment, but it closes in a heartbeat. And then there are a ton of folks there to make sure John Bull doesn't get away.
Yeah, Will Kappenman the first man to get him, and eventually it was Mahoney again who rode him down. So 2 early tackles for the defensive star from the President's Bowl. Hobb again, 1 receiver each way. 2 men in the eye behind him, Bull and Nordquist, but Hobbs going to put it in the air. A little too high for his intended receiver. That was Joey Nelson.
Joey, a very solid wide receiver. He is the son of head coach Kim Nelson, but they have been a little bit frustrated trying to get him the ball a couple of more times. Of course, that first week they didn't throw much, nor did they need to, and last week they just weren't able to find him on a regular occasion.
But we found out last night Lincoln's defense is not bad either, so that's certainly probably. Now Warriors in 3rd and long for the first time tonight. Facing the 4-3 from O+Gorman. Long count, no Gorman jumped. We'll see if they were drawn off.
That time O'Gorman looked like they were in straight up man-to-man defense. If that happens again on this particular play, look for Dan McCaig out here on the near side of the field, the left side of the offense. That is going to be a 5-yard penalty against O'Gorman.
That's one way, I guess, to get out of 3rd and long.
You bet.
So it goes down now to 3rd and 5 from the Knights' 43. Hobb again calling the play in the huddle. He'll bring his team to the line in a scoreless first quarter. Hobb drops straight back, now hands to Nordquist on the draw. That is not Nordquist, that is the fullback John Bull, and he is in. John Bull from 43 yards. I thought he was going to get shoved out, Mike, at 5.
What an outstanding job of balance going down that sideline. John Bull got through the initial surge. He got to the outside, an excellent draw, and a great read by John Bull. And outstanding job as he tiptoes down that sideline, and that's exactly what Washington did. 1 possession, 1 score.
So on for the extra point, Chris Hansen. Very high kick. It sails through, gives the Warriors a 7-0 lead just 3 minutes and 50 seconds into the ball game.
John Bull got an excellent block over the left side, and again that was J.J. Hayden, and actually ran up the center between Wilson and Sharp. Here you see it. Now he sees that there's some room to the outside. Mahoney forces him out. He gets down. Watch right along the sideline. He stays in bounds just barely, gets his balance back, keeps rolling, avoids the shove, and dives towards the end zone. That is an excellent touchdown run by John Bull.
Tom Hill and Joe Mahoney both had a shot at him, but Bull foiled them both. Mentioned he had a 68-yarder on the first play of the season. He's the big play man for the Warriors.
Well, and one of the things there, I think that defense was keeping their eye on Jordan Nordquist, who we have not seen carry the ball very much at all in that first drive. They thought maybe it was time to go to him, but Bull with an outstanding run.
So Hansen will kick deep again. Over O+Gorman. Deep kick by Hansen. This one drives return man all the way back to the 3. This is Cacaro across the 15 to the 16. Nice coverage by the Washington Warriors.
Great job down there by Ryan Routh. He got down and covered that kick and delivered the first lick on for the Washington Warriors.
And Colin Zinnick took him down finally at the 17. That's where Tom Hill starts his second drive. O'Gorman without a first down on the first possession.
Also have to give some credit on that last tackle. Theo Maddock in on it too. My partner Craig Maddock's son.
Oh, pitch here, and that is stuffed absolutely at the line by Austin Park.
Made just a textbook tackle on that first down. Great job by Parks. You'll see him come in and fill the hole, and all forward momentum stops right there.
Lions just ran into a wall, setting up second down and 10. O'Gorman doesn't love to throw the ball, but they might need to a little bit. Hill under center, puts a man in motion, hands off on the counter, right up the middle. Pickup of about 8 yards on the play, setting up second and 2. Will Kappenman on the carry.
One of the keys to this O'Gorman offense, the offense that they run, is being able to use those traps up the middle with their fullback, with Kappenman. And that time they were successful on it. You'll see it's just a very quick block, nice seal in the middle. Kappenman keeping his head down. Those
25, putting O'Gorman in a much more manageable third down and 2. Hand off this time to Lions, and the Knights have their initial first down of the night after the gain of 6.
And an excellent job that time by Tyson Bay and Jared Kantak, as they are able to seal their men off, and the first down of the night for the O'Gorman Knights.
So it sets up O'Gorman at the 31 with about 5.5 minutes gone in the first. Tom Hill once again under center with the double wing. Hand off again around the end. That's Lions, and he crosses midfield all the way down to the Warrior 46-yard line. So O'Gorman finding a little room to roam.
And that's exactly what we talked about. Those traps with Will Kappenman set up those plays where you're able to bring him off of the wing. You'll pitch it back to him, or hand it in this case, and he comes up, nice seal blocks inside, and then Lions just does a lot of that on his own, always moving forward.
Coaches like those plays where you don't get touched till you're 10 yards down the field. Makes it a little bit easier to pick up first downs. Wide out split on this play for Hill. Behind him in the formation is the fullback Kappenman. That's who gets the ball right up the middle, close to midfield. Spot him at the 48, gain of 3.
You know, we talk about Ryan Schuler and being the outstanding offensive tackle that he is. He's also a very good defensive tackle, but it appears that, you know what, the folks from O'Gorman aren't afraid to run right at him. Now, Schuler is very quick also. Up until this past summer, he played with the Dakota Schoolers All-Star basketball team, so he can move very well for a man his size.
They're rolling away from Schuler this time with Hill. He's got to get rid of it. Has a man. What a catch along the sideline by Joe Mahoney. He actually got both feet down on that play, I think.
Outstanding job of getting rid of that ball. Saruka Ware was really putting pressure on the quarterback, Tom Hill, but he threw it, and a great job by Joe Mahoney going up and getting it. And as you say, Gabe, coming down inbounds. Look at the pressure. Look at Aware coming. And here comes Stork as well on the outside. The throw on the way, and up and in. Great catch.
Very nice job by Mahoney, not only to grab the ball, but to get the feet down. Hill with a couple of fakes, rolling out. He's going to keep it inside the 40, down to the Warrior 37. So the Knights moving the ball.
This is exactly what they needed to do after the initial drive by Washington, is come back out, establish your offense, keep that football for a while. And Travis Harsma with a nice job of running down the quarterback, Tom Hill.
Hill on this play, a designed rollout, never really had any intention to throw the ball, especially once he got outside of Saruka Ware, number 54.
And Harsma does a great job there of holding him up just long enough to get some help.
So at the 37, it's 2nd and 5. Hill on the counter, right up the middle. That's yet another O'Gorman first down on the carry by John Lyons.
The entire offense of O'Gorman is set up on the fact that you don't know where the ball is coming from. All sorts of different angles being handed off. and the running backs hitting the hole from different angles as well. Right now, Washington looks a little confused.
You would think after 19 years somebody would have figured out Steve Keeter's offense, but it hasn't happened.
You'd think so, but the same thing happens down in Armour, too.
Hill rolling out, has a man wide open, pass complete at the 5. Did he get in? Down at the 1 is Chris Buller, the tight end, and when they throw, that's where they look.
Outstanding job there by Buller. They lulled him to sleep. Buller, a very good blocking tight end. That time he went down as if to block and then floated behind the safety and was wide open for a great pass. Watch Buller.
Everybody bid on the play fake.
Absolutely, and you have to. And no pressure whatsoever on Hill either. There's Chris Buller, the senior tight end, wide open and just does go down shy.
So O'Gorman first and goal inside the 1. Who gets the score? It's John Lyons, 7-6 Warriors. Pretty simple from that point.
Outstanding drive put together by the O'Gorman Knights. And again, they mixed up their plays very effectively.
So O'Gorman, everybody thought it was a rebuilding year. They've got 22 new starters, and they're not giving in quite yet. On for the point after, which would tie the game. This point after pivotal play in last night's game. And they're faking it.
They're going for 2.
Well, not really faking it. Yeah, it's just shifting into a 2-point formation. Hill, hands off. That's Lyons, and he scores. I don't think Washington had any idea what was going on. I know I did.
I don't think so either. We heard the Washington coaches in the booth next to us just hollering for their kid to get the message out to their kids that they were going for 2, but that message apparently didn't get there, and it was relatively easy for Lyons to get into the end zone.
So the Knights, much to the delight of the numerous fans, have an 8-7 lead on what began the season, at least, as the #1 team in the state. They don't have another poll out quite yet, but Washington certainly still one of the top 2.
And you have to figure that they probably, if they were to win tonight, they probably would be #1, simply because of the fact Yankton struggled with Brandon Valley last night, having to come from behind.
So the Knights have the 1-point lead. We've still got 4:40 to play in the first. Matt Soul will kick, and you know, it should have been a little bit of a tip-off to the Washington defense because number 24 wasn't even on the field for that point after try, so you got to know something's going on.
That's exactly right.
It's going to be a squib kick taken by one of the up men at the 15. Out across the 25, ball hits the ground, but they say he was down. Washington recovered it anyway, but the Warriors start at the 26.
Jordan Norquist was the man there to help out his teammate, Soraka Ware. And Ware not used to carrying that ball. Next time he may want to pitch that back to one of the deep guys.
So the Warriors looked very efficient on drive number 1. Let's see what Nick Hobb and his teammates put together for drive 2.
I made reference to Armour a couple of minutes ago. Of course, Brunell Glanzer coaching the Armour Packers. He's been running the same offense in their basketball program for 30 years, and he's not going to change anything. He keeps beating people, too.
4.5 minutes to go in the first. Hobb takes the snap. He'll run the option and get nowhere. Play made that time by Joe Mahoney, whose name we've called already a couple of times.
Mahoney does a nice job. Lyons does a nice job. And if you can contain Nick Hobb on that option, it's similar to O'Gorman. So many things are keyed off of that quarterback running the ball. And if you can keep Hobb picking up a yard or 2 at a crack, that makes your defensive job much easier.
It is now 2nd down and 9 for the Knights. Or I should say for the Warriors from the 27-yard line. Nordquist goes in motion. Haven't seen him get the ball yet. He won't here either. Hobb keeps it on the option. Crosses the 30 out to the 34. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
That was a big hit over on the far side of the field. I believe it was Glenn Cicero who hit Hobb, but not before he had picked up about 6 or 7 yards.
So Washington in 3rd and 2. Big play certainly for the O'Gorman defense. If they could force a 3 and out and get the ball back, their confidence would have to be high.
A little surprised that we haven't seen Nordquist, as you mentioned. One of the more exciting players in high school football this season.
Hobbs sets a man in motion, takes the snap. Here's Nordquist's first carry. Ouch. Huge hit on the play. It looked like Mahoney, but I'm not sure if he was the first man through.
I think actually it was maybe Chris Buller. That's at least who was helping him up. But yeah, this is just a great read. Look at the gap being shot on the left side, and kaboom, down he goes. That is Chris Buller, the senior defensive end tight end. That is a solid tackle.
Big hit by Buller will give the ball right back to the O+Gorman offense. A pretty nice punt. Well, nobody really knew what to do, and O+Gorman hit it. Now it's just a question of who has it on the bottom of that pile.
That touched somebody. There was some miscommunication between the two deep men, but they're going to say that O+Gorman did get back on the football. Very fortunate for the Knights.
And it was John Lyon who scored the touchdown and the two-point conversion. Lyons who managed to cover the punt or fumble.
Nice job by John. He also was in on singing the national anthem. There was a chorus of four, a quartet that sang this evening, and two of them were John Lyons and Dana Kinsella, standing out there in their football uniforms singing the national anthem. That was kind of a nice touch.
No word whether Lyons will also be taking team uniforms to the laundromat after the game. First and 10, just outside the O+Gorman 41 to start this drive. Hill with the play action. Nowhere to go. He's being chased by, well, pretty much by everyone.
There's Rob Stork, the defensive end. He had a sensational game last week for the Washington Rough Riders as they were able to beat Lincoln. Stork gets overlooked a little bit because of the higher profile teammates that he've got, but he did a great job coming from his right defensive end. You can see him there in the picture.
Now,
he's going to come from the weak side and stay with him.
If Hill had thrown it on time, certainly no problem, but nobody open downfield. Second down now and 23 for the Knights. Hand off to Cacaro in motion. He gets a little bit of it back to the 35, but it'll still be third and 16.
One of the things you were talking about, Gabe, is the passing game of O+Gorman. When they do throw the ball, they will only send two guys out into the pattern, and that can be a problem sometimes. As you say, both of those players recovered on the previous play.
Here you see Cacaro coming on that end around, and more teams are using that as a running play in high school and even all the way up to the pros, Mike.
You bet, and it requires such timing. I've been surprised how many of times we've seen it early in the season. That's one that you need an awful lot of reps on just to get the timing down.
Hill takes the snap on third and 16. He evades Schuler. He's going to take off. He's got the corner. First down into Washington territory. Great individual effort from Tom Hill.
How big is that by Hill as he got away, as you say, flushed out of the pocket, but then he makes a great move, gets around the corner, and picks up about 23 yards, more than enough for the first down. Watch this. Here comes Schuler. He sheds his block, flushes him out, and off goes Hill.
And from here, it's just all speed.
He gets around John Bull, which is surprising. Bull had a chance, and then the ankle gets outside. There's the first down marker, and then some.
So the ball down to the Washington 43. Hill will throw. Deep down the middle is overthrown for Joe Mahoney.
And that time, rather unique, they did have three people into the pattern. Cacaro was probably the most open of the three people in the pattern, but nothing fancy about that. Just three guys go straight down, and Hill tries to find one of them, and that time he overthrows Mahoney.
Just 38 seconds left here in the first quarter. The Knights hold the slim 1-point lead. Hill takes the snap, hands it off again to Lyons up the middle. He is ridden down after a very short gain. Tackle on that play was made by Colin Zenning.
That brings up a big third down play, but I'm not sure that we're going to be able to see that in this quarter.
There you see Lyons, nowhere particular to go.
Good read that time by that defensive line and the linebackers for the Washington Warriors.
So the Knights will let the quarter expire And this Dakota Bowl going very similar to the first 23. The Knights on top. After one, it's 8-7 O+Gorman. You're watching News Center 1 Sports on PAX 18 statewide. We are back at Howard Wood Field, just about to start the second quarter, but we right now down the 15-yard line. Punt a ball into the bed of a pickup truck. If either one of them can do it, they get $24,000, and well, neither one of them could.
Neither one of them could, but those were both closer than I thought they were going to be, especially that first one.
So 0 for 2 on the kick for cash, but the Knights certainly like the way the first quarter went, Mike.
No question about it, but they do face a very big third down play here to start this second period.
So it's 3rd down and 8 for O+Gorman from just outside the Washington 41. Tom Hill on the quick pitch to Lyons. He's got a convoy, but a great play made to trip him up out on the corner. Travis Harzma, the linebacker, just got an ankle on John Lyons. Travis
Harzma saved the first down there. You said it. He had an excellent wall of blockers, but Harzma will kick back. Shed his blocker. Great job, Harzma.
Big block by the lead man, Will Kappenman there, but they needed one more. After the punt, they have or not necessarily a punt.
Nope.
Looks like O+Gorman's going for it. After this 4th down play, they just handed us some stats. We'll let you know what happened in the first quarter. But a big play early, 4th and 7. Hill rolling left. He's going to run, and he's going to get it. Tom Hill had the one big pass to Chris Buller, but he's doing it with his legs, Mike.
Boy, Tom Hill is absolutely carrying this offense. Big play after big play. The big 3rd down and long conversion. Now a 4th down and 5 conversion. And there might have been a little bit of a hold here on the end. But otherwise, I guess O+Gorman fans will call it a good seal, and that allows Hill to get around the corner, get outside, and pick up the first down.
Hill just entirely too fast. Jordan Nordquist finally dragged him down, but it's... So the Knights driving for the second straight time after they went 3 and out on their first possession. A backwards pass to the fullback, Will Kappenman. An awfully dangerous play because if you don't complete it, it's a fumble, but Kappenman does make the catch and pick up 6.
Kappenman, nice strong running there, and actually pretty good hands there on Will's part as well to catch that pass. That was not exactly laid in there perfectly.
Take another look at it again. This is dangerous because if Kappenman doesn't hang on, it's definitely a fumble, but a nice grab and had a little blocking out there from the wide receiver. Picked up 6 on first down. 2nd and 4 from just inside the 22-yard line. Hill right up the middle, and the Washington defense expecting that one.
That time, Courtney Barnes and Ryan Schuler were going to put an end to that play in a heartbeat. And they...
For you real quickly, I'll take another look. First at the 2nd down play there. Washington in the backfield. Mention them quickly. Rushing yards, O+Gorman 61, Washington 66. Passing yards, O+Gorman 40, Washington none. So total yards 101 to 66 in favor of the Knights. Certainly not exactly a defensive struggle. There's that end around again to Cacaro. Gets a couple on 3rd and 5, but certainly I don't see why the Knights wouldn't go again.
Oh, they're going to go for it here. That's too far to kick a field goal, and besides that, even if you do give it up, essentially the same as a touchback. So, yeah, definitely 4-down territory here for the Knights.
It's now 4th and 5. Offensive lineman Tyson Bay coming back into the ball game, and Tom Hill wants a timeout to talk about it. We can talk a little bit more about the first half numbers. O+Gorman the edge in first downs, 6-2. 433, and if you're the Knights, that's the most basic way to beat Washington. Keep Nick Hobb, Jordan Nordquist, and John Bull on the sidelines.
No question. And remember when you said 62 yards of rushing for Washington, 43 of those came on the one play on the touchdown run by John Bull on their opening possession. So since that time, the Washington Warriors have not done much against this O+Gorman defense.
And in addition to the 7:27 to 4:33 edge in time of possession in the first. The Knights have now had the ball for the first 3 minutes of the second. Total plays approximately 22 to 9 right now. So O+Gorman has gotten the better of this matchup so far.
They are doing exactly what they wanted to do. They were 3 and out on their opening series. Otherwise, everything has gone the way of O+Gorman. And again, we talked about it. Washington did not want to be in this position where the Knights are hanging tough at this.
A little bit more than hanging tough, but it is 4th and 5. But it's in that, again, dangerous down distance where you've seen Tom Hill already roll out and run for 2 first downs.
One of the things that Washington has to keep an eye on, don't fight on that fake up the middle. Don't commit everybody to that, because that has allowed Hill to get outside.
Keep an eye on Joe Mahoney, split out wide right. Hill is going to roll that way. He's going to try to run, and this time Washington was ready. It only worked so many times, Mike.
Great job by Travis Harsma of spreading it out along with Rob Stark. An excellent job of spreading that out and not letting Hill get turned upfield. Excellent read by the Washington defense.
Hill had run almost this exact same play twice for first downs, but just too many people. Back over to Nick Hobb and the Warrior offense. 1st and 10. Play action fake. Hobb going up top, has a man down the middle, dropped by Joey Nelson.
Joey Nelson drops the ball in open territory. That just does not happen very often. Then he gets hammered after the play. But Joey Nelson had the opportunity. Excellent throw by Hobb. Nothing fancy, short drop. Nelson, middle of the zone, wide open, and through his hands.
And that's the old Jerry Rice, I'll throw you a 10-yard slant and hope the receiver can turn it into a 70-yard touchdown. And Nelson certainly would have had a shot.
Very good in the open field, but has to catch the ball first.
2nd down and 10. Hobb now changing the play. 3 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left in a new formation for the Warriors. Doesn't get it, but does get the first down.
And a nice job out there by Nelson. He just engaged his man enough. If he is able to knock him down, then maybe Nordquist gets around that corner and is moving all the way down the sideline. But it was just enough of a block, and Jordan Nordquist lined up out on that left wide receiver spot. He takes the handoff, comes around the right side of the offensive line. Nelson just able to hold up his man long enough for that first down.
Last night we saw 2 teams that struggled to score. Tonight we're seeing 2 teams struggling to stop the opposition from moving the ball. Hobb under center at his own 39 on 1st and 10. John Bull, the lone running back behind him, fake to Bull, fake to Nordquist. Hobb rolling left, has a man wide open. It's complete to Bull across mid.
That wasn't fooled on that was Joe Mahoney, who came up from his defensive back position to put some pressure on Nick Hobb. But otherwise, there were an awful lot of people, had no idea where the ball was. Excellent fake by Hobb. Here comes Mahoney into the picture, but he can't make the tackle. The throw downfield to Bull and the first down.
And that's one of those ones where Hobb saw his receiver downfield and just couldn't wait to throw it because he was so alone. Down to the 44. 1st and 10. Another fake and the counter to Nordquist up the middle to the 35 and near another first down at the O+Gorman 33.
Now we are starting to see the Washington offense that uses all sorts of different weapons. That time they take advantage of the inside running of Nordquist going behind the Luke Sharp and Grant Wilson in there. Just another counter play.
First and 10 again. Hobb the play fake. Going for the end zone. Joey Nelson hangs on to this one. Touchdown. Perfect pass by Nick Hobb.
Outstanding pass by Nick Hobb. Great job by Joey Nelson. He put a move on the defensive back, and again, that was all set up. by the offensive line doing their job and by that play fake to Bull coming up the middle. Nelson streaking down the sideline, a perfect pass from Nick Hobb.
And I think the Warriors will now go for two to make up for the two that O+Gorman got earlier in the game.
Makes some sense here. As long as you're leading by 5, go ahead and try for 2 as Hobb brings the play back onto the field.
4 minutes and a second gone in the second quarter. Bull and Nordquist in the eye behind Hobb. Ball spotted at the 3 for the conversion attempt. Long count, pitch goes to Nordquist. It's going to be a hold even if he does get in, and he does not. Flag on the play. It is a hold against Washington. O+Gorman will decline that. Take the failed 2-point conversion, and the Warriors lead still, but it's only 13-8. And Mike, so many times, you've heard so many times, throw out the win to go for 2 thing. Go for 1, because in the end, that 1 point that you bypassed in the second quarter might come back to hurt you in the fourth quarter, so ignore the sheet until the 4th.
Most definitely, and in those situations, any point that you can put on the board. Seal, Mahoney can't get there in time. Joey Nelson has put a move on and is wide open, stretches, catches, and in.
And I tell you, Mike, just out of the play I've seen in the first 3 weeks of the season, one of the most interesting things, who's going to be the all-state quarterback in AA? Because there are a bunch of good ones. We saw last night Derek Faylor had a fantastic game for Sioux Falls Roosevelt. Nick Hobb and Tom Hill both look great here tonight. There's a lot of good ones. Tommy Flieger kind of dominated as the greatest quarterback last year, but this year it's wide open.
No question, and a lot of these guys did get playing time a year ago also, and now are stepping up into the spotlight. So yeah, that seems to be pretty strong this year across the state.
Hansen's kick going to be taken at the 10-yard line by Cacaro, right up the middle, breaks a tackle, and was about 2 steps from going the distance. Brought down though.
Him, who was all ready to take care of that pesky kicker out in front, but a nice shoestring tackle keeps Cacaro from going all the way.
No kicker in the country wants to see 6'7", 270 coming at him on a kick return.
Not at all.
So the Knights take over again, trailing for the second time in the game, 13-8. And again, what has been a very action-packed first half. Hill on the handoff, and nothing there. The Washington defensive line snuffs that out.
Kappelman with a great job with the run there, but a great job on that defensive line. Courtney Barnes again, Ryan Schuler, Rob Stork, Sarika Ware. They are really playing very well. A loss of a couple of yards on the play.
So the clock ticks under 7.5 to go in the second. Handoff's going to go to Lyons, who's found a lot of running room. It looked like he had a hole absolutely cut down over on the far side of the field. Nice play made by Austin Parks, who comes up limping just a little bit.
Yeah, Parks comes up limping. I don't think he wants to come out of the ball game now. He will, however. No,
he's trying to convince him he can stay on the field,
right.
But he can't walk.
That lobbying effort not successful by Austin Parks. He will be replaced, but a very solid play, and now O+Gorman in a 3rd and long once again.
And Parks just kind of fell to the ground over behind the Washington bench. We'll try to get Ryan Gunn over there, see what's going on with Austin Parks, if he'll be able to come back in the game. Looked like an ankle.
Trying to see who's in. I believe it's Theo Maddock that came in and replaced Parks, number 4.
They clear it out, complete to Cacaro. Just a fantastic play drawn up by Steve Keeter. They clear out the entire left side of the field, and Cacaro was all by himself.
I have to tell you, O+Gorman has a couple of new offensive new assistant coaches this year. He has got the Weber twins, or the Salem twins, excuse me, Brad Salem and Brent Salem, who have coached at D1 level, and they have put a new wrinkle into this offense. there's an outstanding pattern and an outstanding throw out to Cicero. But the Salems have coached down at USD. They have coached at, I believe, University of Michigan. They have been all over the country, and this year helping out and putting some passing game into the O+Gorman offense, which is almost unheard of.
O+Gorman trying to do it again. Hill's pass incomplete as we get back to live action. It'll be 2nd and 10 now from the Washington 45.
And Hill had the man open, just overthrew him. But he says, if I keep listening to the Salems, we are going to put the ball in the air, and that is what they have done with great effectiveness tonight.
That is a big if. I'll get back to the interesting story about that in just a second after this play. 2nd and 10. Handoff up the middle to Cicero. He gets a yard. He's stuffed. I say it's a big if whether the head coach will listen to his assistants. Last Roosevelt went into the half scoreless. We talked to Coach Brent DeBoer after the game, asked him exactly what changes they made at halftime to put 14 points on the board in the second half. He said they had 4 guys trying to call the offensive plays in the first half. He said forget it, gave the reins to 1 guy, and the offense turned around a little bit. There you see Cicero again, stuffed by Rob Stork and a host of others.
3rd down and long once again. Let's see what O+Gorman tries to come up with in that apparently brand new play. Offense.
Lions in motion. They fake that little end around. Hill's going to throw it to Lyons now, who makes the catch. Had a couple of Warriors near him, but still managed to pick up 8 on 3rd down. It'll set up 4th and 2.
A nice job out there of shutting things down. Austin Parks is back into the ball game and was in on that tackle along with Travis Harsma, but that was another play that we have not seen yet this evening, Gabe. They fake the handoff, and instead that man goes into the pattern. That is Lyons. He makes the catch, but the gap closes quickly there.
And that end-around handoff that you see so many times, it's not only run for that play, but it's also run to set up that very fake that you see later in the game. So it's 4th and 2. O+Gorman once again going for it. At least the 3rd, maybe the 4th time they've gone for a 4th down. Lyons drops the ball. And it really doesn't matter who covered it, because either way, it's 4th down.
Mishandle that we have seen this evening. It has been a very crisply played football game.
The only difference it makes officially, I guess that now goes down as a turnover because Washington did cover it. So it goes over down in the box score as a fumble as opposed to turnover on downs. But the Warriors get it back, looking to add to a 5-point lead in the last 4:25 of the second quarter.
Very important that the O+Gorman defense holds Washington here. If Washington,
because Washington gets the ball to start the second half.
Exactly,
too.
And if they put something on the board here, that really sends them with the momentum into the halftime locker.
Nick Hobb with 3 wideouts. John Bull behind him. Schuler pulling, leading the way for Nordquist, but Nordquist never got that far, and now he loses the ball. Will the officials say he was down?
Yep, they're going to mark
Yes,
it down. But a very good job defensively. I think that...
down. You see Lyons simply never had the ball, tried to pick it up, got knocked out of the way by John Bull, who came in there and just knocked him right off the ball to allow Washington to recover and take over at its own 46. It's now back to its own 44. It'll be 2nd down and 12. Hobb in the shotgun. First time we've seen this tonight. Hobb on the quarterback draw, and you could hear the Washington coaches next to us screaming go because Nick Hobb had a hole.
He had a hole, but he did not read the block properly. That was one of the things they were complaining about, and Joe Mahoney got a hold of him and held on, but there was an opportunity for Hobb to pick up much bigger yardage on that. Look, take a look at this as he goes to the outside instead of the inside. He went right into where the man was being...
3rd and 8. Big play for the O+Gorman defense. Did I say big enough times? It's a big play. John Bull is going to pick up that first down and a little bit more inside the nice 40. You know, I don't really know why they run anything else. Every time John Bull touches the ball, he gets 20 yards.
He has been very successful tonight, and again, it is running behind that offensive line that is playing very, very effectively. We talked in the pregame about the the lines for O'Gorman if they can hang tough. There's Bull coming up the middle, gets away from one man, and then gets it into full gear very quickly.
Big block on that play by Larry Mormon, the offensive lineman from Washington. Mormon, a 225-pound senior. A lot of seniors on this Washington squad. One reason so many coaches have picked him to win the state title. Hobb on the quarterback option. He's going to pitch it to Bull. To the 35. Stiff arms a man to the 30. I don't think he takes that step and just out of bounds. Takes up another 15 yards down to the 14. We're going to have to get another look at this one because John Bull was very close to the sideline on that run.
You know, one of the nice things, PAX 18 statewide, of course, going to be bringing you coverage of high school football all year long. You guys are going to have a ton of highlights that you can show. Watch this run by Bull. Not only does he not go out of bounds, he gets stood up at one point, but then just keeps on going. Watch this. Kaboom, right about on the next one, that right there, but he holds on and then moves forward for several more yards.
Bull certainly was one on that play, down inside the 15-yard line. 1st and 10, he fakes the Bull, and Hobb gets close to the 10. And that fake, if you can work it properly, Craig and I talked last night about what a difficult play that is to almost hand the ball to the fullback and then pull it out. But if you can work it properly, it certainly is a great weapon to have.
Has run this offense very effectively, and now is you can just tell that comes with experience, being able to know when to pull that ball away.
2nd down and 6. Another key thing here, Washington running the clock down. O'Gorman's not going to get it back in this quarter, regardless of whether Washington adds points or not. This is the end around, and it's down inside the 1. The ball carrier on that one was Garrett Hansen. First time we've heard that name tonight.
Garrett Hansen comes on the end around and did a great job. We talked about reading blocks. That time Garrett Hansen did do a great job of letting the blocks develop. He'll take the handoff, and you can see there's a block out on the far side, and around the end they go. Hansen taking that block from number 24, Dan McKay.
And J.J. Hayden, who you mentioned in the pregame, also had a big block. On only one drive so far in this quarter, or in this half, I should say. Hobb under center on 1st and goal from the 1. The handoff to Bull. Why not? It looked like he was down at the 1 and just carried a couple of Knights into the end zone.
Outstanding run by John Bull. Pretty simple there if you're the offensive coordinator. We're close. John Bull, I like my chances, and that was a huge drive by Washington, and you can just feel some of the life coming out of this sideline, the O'Gorman sideline.
Nice 55-yard drive. You know, before the first Washington game we had this year, Kim Nelson said one thing his team had to do was finish. Well, they'll have the chance in the 3rd quarter to put away O'Gorman. We'll see if they can do it. Hansen knocks through the extra point. It's 20-8. Tom Hill has shown the ability to both throw the ball well and scramble.
And even if you don't score on this particular possession, just simply come out, move the ball a couple of times, try to negate some of that momentum that obviously is now on the side of the orange and black.
The Warriors will kick off again. Remember, the Warriors get the ball to start the 2nd half, something that could be very key in a game they already lead 20-8.
Of course, a reminder also, it is an extended halftime here at the Dakota Bowl. We're going to actually get caught up on some news, aren't we?
Yes, we will have a little news break for you back from the News Center 1 studios. Catch you up on some of the headlines around the state at halftime. Hansen will kick it deep to Kikero, standing at his own 6. Squib kick is going to be taken by Kikero at the 10. He'll cut up to the 20, hurdle one man, get it to the 29. So the Knights will have 72 seconds to go 71 yards.
And this is a situation also where it'll be interesting to see what happens as far as how Washington wants to play with their timeouts. They've got 3 timeouts remaining. The Knights have 2. I don't think the Knights are interested in stopping the clock unless, of course, they were able to pick up a couple of big gains and get themselves into scoring position. Otherwise, I think they'd be content picking up 5 and 6 yards at a crack and keeping that clock rolling.
Might see what happens on the first play or two to determine Steve Keeter's philosophy. Lions with a nice gain over the right side. He picks up about 4 or 5. We'll see if either team wants to stop the clock after that play. They'll just let it roll. Not turn the ball over before halftime in its own end.
And Washington realizing that even if they were to use their timeouts, there wouldn't be much that they could do with them, even if they were able to stop the clock on a couple of occasions. So yeah, this half is just going to roll on out.
This play probably will be the last of the first half. End around to Cacaro. Looked like he had a hole, and then Rob Stork drilled him. Gain of only about a yard on that play. So the first half clock does look like it's going to run out. We'll see if Steve Keeter decides to run another play or not. Coach is waving it off, and O+Gorman will be satisfied with going to halftime. I believe down 20-8 in the 24th annual Dakota Bowl. We're going to stick around here for just a second, see if we can possibly get a little reaction from either coach heading off. After that, a little bit more so for the Warriors. A nice solid first half. Warriors put up the last 13 points in that first half, and they do lead it 20-8 right now going into the break. Both teams looking to go to 3-0 on the season. And I do see Coach Kim Nelson making his way across the field with Ryan Gunn. Momentarily, we will have some reaction from the coach of the #1 ranked team in the state. Kim Nelson got to be fairly satisfied with the way his team has played. Let's go down to Ryan and find out.
Break, are we? We're okay. All right. All right, good. All right, welcome back. We're here with Washington Warriors head coach Kim Nelson, and you have to be happy with the score in the first half, but are you happy with the way your team executed?
They were really jacked up, and it was good for us to score first, but I think they showed us the kind of character they have when they came back and scored right in our face and got up 8-7. I was really proud of the way our kids came back in the second quarter and kind of made a couple big plays and kind of turned the tide a little bit for us. So we're happy to be ahead at halftime, obviously, but we're not stopping them very well. They're still moving the ball pretty well on us. We've got to try to shore that up.
Yeah, of course you mentioned the history of the Dakota Bowl. O+Gorman has always played great here. They've won 16 of 18. Is this a different O+Gorman team than you think you may have seen in the first 2 weeks of the season? I mean, do they just come out differently for this game?
Well, I think they're a good football team, and tonight they showed, in the first quarter especially, what they can do on the offensive side of the football. They're crisp. They're blocking really well. You know, I think maybe we wore them out a little bit the second half. We're going to have to keep doing that in the second half this time.
All right, last question. When they did have that nice long drive, O+Gorman...
Yeah, the big thing is to keep our shoulders square to the line of scrimmage and not get turned. And I think when we get turned, they kick us out. They're good blockers. They're a good football team. So we've got to stay square on the line of scrimmage and play with our hands a little bit better. And I think we did a better job the second quarter.
Thanks, Coach Nelson. Good luck in the second half. All right, we are at the halftime. The score, the Warriors 20 and the Knights 8. We're having an abbreviated edition of News Center 1. Or actually, we're going to go to Gabe and Mike in the booth first. Take care.
All right, thanks a lot, Ryan. Appreciate that. We're going to step aside for just a couple of minutes. We will be back. And right now, the Warriors lead the Knights 28 at halftime. You are watching News Center 1 Sports on PAX 18 statewide. Welcome back to Howard Wood Memorial Field in Sioux Falls on the road to the Dome on PAX 18 statewide. The Warriors and the Knights in the 24th annual Dakota Bowl. You are not looking at a power failure, and we're not now shooting in a cave. They just turned off the lights for a halftime fireworks display at the Dakota Bowl. It is 20-8, Sioux Falls, Washington leading O+Gorman at the break. We are going to be able to show you a little bit of how we got to this point in the ball game. Got some first half highlights to show you. The Warriors jumped out on top first in the 7-0 but the Knights got back in on things with Tom Hill going up top to Chris Buller. Now, this was not the touchdown, but it did set it up. You'll see Buller make the catch about the 8. He did get dragged down inside the 1-yard line. However, from there, John Lyons would take it over. The Knights' 2-point conversion was also good from Lyons. That made the score 8-7. Here is that 2-point conversion. Lyons just kind of plowing in off the right side. At that point, Sioux Falls O+Gorman led Washington. The score was 8-7. However, the Warriors had a very productive second quarter. They would come back. Nick Hobb on the play-action fake with Joe Mahoney bearing down on him, lofted an absolutely perfect pass to Joey Nelson and the coach's kid. Nice over-the-shoulder catch, taking it in from the 2. At that point, Washington led 13-8. 2-point conversion was no good. Then John Bull from the 1-yard line, kind of carrying a couple tacklers into the end zone. That made it 19-8. Extra point made it 20-8. Warriors did threaten toward the end of that first half, but couldn't punch it in. So Sioux Falls, Washington 20, Sioux Falls O+Gorman 8. As you see it there, Mike, a very efficient performance by the Warriors.
It was, and actually on the opening drive by the Warriors, they got the football and cashed it in rather quickly as John Bull scored on a 43-yard run. John Bull is leading the way. He's got 6 carries for 85 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Nick Hobb has carried it 6 times for 29 yards. A little bit of a surprise for Washington. Jordan Nordquist, their leading rusher, 4 carries, 19 yards. Now, on the other side of things, for Sioux Falls O+Gorman, John Lyons is leading the way with 33 yards. Now, Tom Hill, the quarterback, has 19 yards on 6 carries, but also remember that that is a net yardage, and he was sacked a couple of times, so that goes against his total. Hill had some very big carries for Sioux Falls O+Gorman. Meanwhile, passing 5 out of 8 for Tom Hill, which is a big surprise over on the O+Gorman side of things, 75 yards. Meanwhile, Nick Hobb just 2 for 4. They have run the ball very effectively.
And the Warriors defense struggled at times, as Coach Kim Nelson mentioned going into the halftime break. O+Gorman did move the ball pretty well, could not punch it in though.
They did come up short also on some big third down conversions. Hill was able to convert a couple of those along the way, but not enough of them, and they just couldn't sustain the scoring drives. Again, though, credit that defensive line for Washington Warriors. They really came up very big. The folks up front, Rob Stork, Ryan Schuler, Courtney Barnes, Saruka Ware, they did outstanding job, especially in that second period.
And indicative of what an up and down game this was. Each team only 1 punt in the first half, and no turnovers either.
And both of those punts were very good. Hill had a 47-yarder, and Hansen got off a pretty good kick as well.
And, you know, while we've got a couple of minutes, let's talk a little bit about what else kind of went on in the state. High school football last night. I know Yankton had a little trouble, but did get a win. Spearfish beat Rapid City Central. Sturgis beat Stevens, I should say, beat Sturgis. A little bit more on what happened on the east side of the state.
And that last night, as you mentioned, the game that was live here on PAX 18 statewide, a very good, entertaining football game as Roosevelt responds to their heartbreaking loss last week to O+Gorman. They end up winning at 14-12 over Lincoln. Now, next week, I believe, PAX 18 statewide, we've got Spearfish and Lincoln coming up. Is it
Spearfish and Roosevelt?
That's right, Spearfish and Roosevelt. And coming up on Friday evening, that should be an interesting game. One of the things about Spearfish is it just doesn't seem to matter what their record is. Spearfish seems to put out more skilled players than anybody in the state. I mean, year in and year out, you look at the rosters at USD and Augie and SDSU, and they usually have some receivers and some runners from Spearfish, so that should be an entertaining game.
And, you know, we talked about in the first half all the good quarterbacks around the state. Well, you'll see another one in that game, Matt Martin.
Oh, sure.
Absolutely is just a weapon with both his arm and his legs for the Spearfish Spartans. Both those teams are going to come into that game 2-1. We've, of course, mentioned this on PAX 18 before, but worth mentioning again. All these regular season games, unlike last year, will be leading up to the state championships. We will have all 6 state title games from the Dakota Dome down in Vermilion for the first time this year on PAX 18 statewide. I'll be down there. Charles Cote will be down there. Who knows? Mike might be down there. A whole cast of characters.
I think there's going to be a cast of thousands to bring you 6 games in 2 days. But also don't forget, volleyball state championships, boys and girls state basketball championships, wrestling championships as well.
All right, folks. Well, we will be back a few minutes from kickoff. They're warming up the lights again, as you can see at Howard Wood, and getting things ready for the second half kickoff between the Warriors and the Knights. You're watching News Center 1 Sports on PAX 18 statewide.
Welcome back to the beginning of the second half of the Dakota Bowl here with O+Gorman 8, Washington 20. We have O+Gorman head coach Steve Keeter. And coach, the team played really well, came out with a lot of emotion, but it's got to be real tough to play as well with the kind of emotion you did and be down by 12 at half. What did you say to your players at halftime?
Well, I think there's some things we can do offensively, and we're moving the ball. I'm feeling better about that, but we got to shore it up defensively. They're just moving right down the field on us. I'm sure they're going to do the same thing this half, just run the ball, and you know, they're bigger and stronger, and we got to come up with something.
Yeah, last week they had 222 yards rushing against Lincoln. They already got 143 in the first half, and if it's not Jordan Nordquist, it's John Bull. He's already got 83 yards. How do you stop that two-headed attack?
Well, that's what we're working on right now, and we got to do some gambling. You know, right now we're in a situation where we have to get the ball back to stay in this game, so we're going to take some chances. You're going to see a little more stunning. You're going to see a little more man-to-man, but you know, I think we can stop them.
And were those the major adjustments, I guess, you made at halftime?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at right now. The major things we're doing right now is we have to stop that running attack, and I don't know that they're in an attitude to throw. We'll find out because they can throw it awful well, too, but it'll be an interesting half.
Hey, one bright spot, though. You did have a lot of success on that 24 trap. It seems you guys were running very successfully in the first half.
Yeah, they are. The kids are executing real well on offense, so I think we'll have a good half that way.
All right, good luck in the second half, Coach. All right, we're going back up to the booth with Gabe and Mike.
All right, thanks a lot, Ryan. Mike, I'm going to do a little translating for coach speak from Steve Keeter. How do you stop the Washington running game? That big, long answer Steve Keeter gave comes down to, I'm not real sure.
Exactly. And that's really what it boils down to is you do have a team that is plainly and simply bigger and stronger. And with that in mind, you do need to take some chances, try to shoot some gaps a little bit. And maybe, though, the bad part about that is when you do that, it's also very easy to get burned and have a play go for a big gain as opposed to just a couple of yards.
Well, folks, we are set now for the second half kickoff. And the Washington Warriors should be receiving the ball here to start that second half. Warriors kicked off to start the first. O+Gorman couldn't score on its first drive, did score on its second. The Knights did hold briefly an 8-7 lead, but Washington was really a strong second quarter, probably as good a quarter of football as they've played, at least since the first against Rapid City Central.
They were very, very efficient, marching up and down the field, and now they do get the football. O+Gorman definitely wants to come out, make something happen. You heard that the O+Gorman Knights going to go for some turnovers here, see if maybe they can use that to swing the momentum.
The Knights set to kick off. Nordquist back at his 10. One of the deep men for Sioux Falls, Washington. Ryan Routh, I believe, is the other. And a little delay here, but Matt Soul is now out on the field and will boot it deep for O+Gorman.
Jordan Nordquist not used very often during the course of that first half. Only touched the ball about 6 times or so. It will be interesting to see if they use him a bit more in this second half. John Bull, of course, did the majority of the carrying. The kick is up and away, and it's coming down to Nordquist.
Nordquist, nice hole across the 30. Still going, breaks a tackle to the 40, gets a huge block midfield. Nordquist on his feet all the way to the O+Gorman 46. Not a good start for the Knights.
That was the last thing that the O+Gorman Knights wanted to see was great field position by Washington. They have been chewing up yards as it is. You cannot give them a short field, but Jordan Nordquist, so dangerous, and he just comes straight up the middle. Outstanding blocking in the center.
Yeah, watch about midfield and see if you can catch a number, because there was a huge block toward the end of this run by Jordan Nordquist. Nordquist, nice job of breaking tackles, but here it comes, and watch the poor kicker. Just gets floored as Nordquist gets to the 46-yard line. Back to live action, the Warriors 1st and 10. with Nick Hobb, and you're going to see a bunch of this, just keeping it. I thought they kept it on the ground. They did momentarily. Hobb drilled and fumbled. They're going to lose 20 yards on that play.
Great defensive play that time by Mahoney coming in, and almost exactly what O+Gorman wanted. The ball was loose on the ground, but nevertheless, a huge 20-yard loss there on the counter. Here comes Mahoney, and Hobb just never sees him coming. There goes the ball, and they are fortunate that the Washington Warriors are able to get on top of that.
Yeah, I thought that Hobb had handed it off. I was going to say the Warriors are going to play it safe. Apparently not. It's now 2nd and 27. They won't be able to play it safe here. Hobb hands it off up the middle to Bull, who is dragged down. Will Kappenman just hanging on, and Bull makes 7 up to the 44, but it's still going to be 3rd down and 22.
By the way, want to go back to that opening kickoff. The guy that laid that huge block was Drew Skolton, a 6-foot junior, 190-pounder. Don't get to call those names on special teams very often, but boy, he just laid the hammer.
3rd and 20 now. Hobb drops. He's going to throw the wide receiver screen, and this has got a shot. Joey Nelson crosses the 45, gets past the original line of scrimmage, and puts Washington in a position where they can either go for it on 4th and 7 or try to punt and pin O+Gorman deep. It looks like they will kick the ball away. Chris Hansen coming onto the field.
They are going to go ahead and play field position here, try to pin O+Gorman deep in their own territory.
That's a play that your team, the Minnesota Vikings, like to run to a certain number 84, that little jailbreak screen, and often a receiver can make it into a big play. Nelson got 15, but not enough. O+Gorman with nobody back. They think Washington's going to fake it, I guess, but if this one rolls dead, which it will, down, Washington actually probably could have let that roll for another 4 or 5 yards, but Colin Zennick went ahead, downed it at the 11.
Well, it might have bounced another couple of yards, but again, you just want to be to get that ball down close. I think Zennick maybe thought it was going to start kicking out the other way, but that was very big play defensively. By the way, Vikings not my team, definitely. I'm a Lions fan, for crying out loud. I have no standards whatsoever. And the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Royals. Oof. Yeah, I know.
Tom Hill going to pitch it out. This is Lyons crossing the 15, and John Lyons has really run well tonight.
He really has led the team in rushing in that first half, but one of the things that you like to see if you're O+Gorman, just simply don't try to get everything back all at once. You're trailing only by 2 touchdowns. Come out, pick up 5, 6, 7 yards per play. Go back to the things that you were successful doing in that first half. Lyons, great job of using his blockers.
Yeah, nice kick-out blocks there, a couple of them from the offensive lineman up front. So O+Gorman with a long field, but again, as Mike said, 5, 6 yards to carry, and that'll put you downfield rather quickly. And how about 5 yards on a penalty? Schuler jumped, and actually about two-thirds of the Washington front was in the O+Gorman backfield on that play.
Apparently Tom Hill changing the cadence just a bit on the offensive call there, and it will move the ball forward 5 yards, and that will be enough for a first down.
So the Knights get a first down by penalty, and will now go from the 23-yard line. Again, you expect to see him run quite a bit, setting up the play-action pass, which worked so well in the first half to Buller. Hill is going to run left. On the option, he keeps it. Hill had a seam. Nice job of Washington to drag him down, but still a gain of 5 yards on first down, and O+Gorman will take 2nd and 5 every series.
You bet they will. Austin Parks ran that down from his linebacker position, but yeah, nothing fancy. Hill just with the option play and gets away. A nice block there by Lamberty, just enough to tie up Courtney Barnes. Hill gets around and picks up 5 yards.
Nice job out leading the play also by number 68, Dana Kinsella. 2nd and 5 from the 28. Almost 4 minutes already gone in the third. Lions coming around. They fake the handoff to him. They'll go deep down the field. Wide open man. Catch is made by Joe Mahoney all the way down inside the Warrior 30. Mike mentioned the play-action pass.
There it was, and that's what had been set up with the run, coming out, picking up 5 or 6. Now Washington is concerned about closing up those gaps, and they got Mahoney behind the defense, and an excellent throw by Tom Hill. There's the fakes. That freezes everybody up. Hill takes another couple of steps and lobs in a perfect pass to Mahoney, who was behind the defense. He beat Nordquist on the play and then picks up quite a bit after the catch.
If that defender is anybody but Jordan Nordquist, Mahoney probably scores. Again, the Washington nose tackle jumped, and that was Schuler.
That is twice now in the last 3 plays that apparently the folks from Washington getting a little anxious defensively. So 1st and 5, that's even better.
You've just about got to get in the backfield early to figure out who the heck has the ball back there with the way Hill is faking. 1st and 5 from the 23. Handoff right up the middle. The trap goes to Will Kappenman, and he doesn't get much, but still, again, 2nd and 5.
Cap doesn't get very far. Schuler is there to knock him down, but again, that's just another weapon and another angle that defensive line has to pay attention to. Remember, this drive started on the O'Gorman 11-yard line.
Hill comes back to the line with Kappenman, the lone man behind him in the double wing formation. Mahoney the only wide out. Cacaro went in motion, and that, are they going to call it a fumble? No. The official on the near side by the O'Gorman sideline is saying he's down, and I think that was a good call.
I think so. Hopefully we can see this on replay, but again, a good read into the gap on the defensive side of the ball by Washington. That ball did come loose. There you can see Big Schuler shooting the gap.
Watch Kappenman's knee.
Yep.
It's hard to tell from that angle, but I think he was down. Ground, of course, can't cause the fumble.
Attempt for the O'Gorman Knights.
Knights are going to throw. Tom Hill has a man, and Cacaro just needed another step.
Cacaro actually started looking back for the ball a little bit early on that. He had an opening in the seam of the zone back there, but he turned around and kind of lost his steps a little bit.
Tom Hill also put a little bit too much air under that ball. Throw a little more on the line, that's probably a completion.
It is, because at that point, Cacaro was much more open, too, in the seam.
Well, 4th and 5, O'Gorman's still going.
Watch for Hill to keep it and try to get outside.
It's what they've done on every 4th down up to this point. Not this time. He'll throw it to a wide open Buller inside the 10. 1st and goal, O'Gorman at the 5. A drive that has now covered 82 yards to this point.
Well, Washington was looking for the same thing I was, and they want to contain on that outside. That gives Buller, the big tight end, a chance to just float down the middle of the field. Watch him. He's at the top of the screen. Everybody trying to contain Hill. The throw, wide open, catch, and some yards after.
So Hill now facing 1st and goal from outside the 5. It's Lyons. Bounces off a tackle, touchdown. 20-14 now. And Mike, going back to the 4th down conversion from Hill to Buller, this is why the average fan who sits in his armchair and watches games isn't a coach, because those 3 calls where Hill went outside earlier, that just set up this play. That's what Washington was looking for. So you're calling plays in the 1st quarter that are affecting what you're going to call in the 3rd quarter.
No question about it, and a great job by Lyons also. He just burned Ryan DeVries, who came up, made a good read on it from his cornerback position, but could not make the tackle.
Extra point is good. It's now 20-15. Washington has the lead, and the most fickle of friends of a football team, momentum, has squarely sat down on the O'Gorman bench for now.
And the Knights have life again. This huge crowd on the O'Gorman side of the field is fired up. Great shot of the student section there, and very impressive drive. Just your basic 89-yard drive there by the O'Gorman Knights.
And you know, the Dakota Bowl it's not just another game to O'Gorman. The President's Bowl and the Rushmore Bowl are big for those schools, but I don't think it's quite such a spectacle. And even one of the coaches, I think it was Mike Klein, that's told us, we try to forget it's the President's Bowl. It's just another game. Forget about all the festivities. I clearly don't think O'Gorman does that with this event.
No, there is no question that they try to, excuse me, actually take advantage of all of the activity and the excitement, and they try to promote that O'Gorman mystique as well.
The O'Gorman mystique has had them in 10 state title games, of which they've won 6 in the AA ranks. Nobody expects them to get there this year, but the way they've played, who knows? This kick, again, a line drive taken by Nordquist. It is 14. Right up the middle. Just kind of a pack of about 18 guys, and Nordquist goes down in the middle of it at his own 33.
That looked a lot more like a rugby scrum there by the Washington Warriors than an actual football return. Nordquist, though, not quite as successful as on the last kick return, but still not bad starting position for the Washington Warriors.
So the Warriors will start at their own 33. Haub and the offense trying to answer the 89-yard touchdown drive by the Knights. A couple penalties also played a big role in that last drive. Nordquist goes in motion. He'll get the handoff, go around right end. We've got a hold.
And that is going to be a hold out on the side by Garrett Hansen. Hansen threw the block over there that actually freed up Nordquist, but they're going to call the hold on Garrett Hansen.
Let's take another look at the O'Gorman touchdown, the one that made it 20-15. Tom Hill just hands to Lyons, coming around, and looked like he was in trouble here. Bounces off the tackle. That was Ryan DeVries, who was kind of left grabbing air. Mentioned the penalties on the last drive. A couple of offsides penalties on Washington helped O'Gorman. Now on first down, a play that gained 7 yards, the 10-yard holding call. Actually, from the spot of the foul, it's a 13-yard holding call. So Nelson's team not playing real clean right now.
No, they're not. And you know that Coach Nelson and the offensive staff, they'd really like to put together 7, 8, 9 plays in a row right here and keep that football.
John Bull up the middle for 10. Gets some of it back, but still second and long. Taking down to 13 for the Warriors.
And it's very important, too. This is where you really have to take a look at that offensive line and say, okay, boys, time to carry us, time to eat some clock, time to chew up some yardage. Just, again, 7, 8 yards at a crack. Don't have to be fancy, don't have to do anything other than hold on to the football.
On that last play, you saw Washington offensive linemen 5 and 6 yards downfield. Excellent recipe for success. Haub again with a man in motion. He's going to run the option. Haub will keep it. Crosses the 35 up to the 38. So they go from 1st and 23 now down to a very manageable 3rd and 5.
You bet, and that's what you want to do. Now you've got it back where 3rd and 5, you've got your full option of plays that you can call here. You don't have to throw the ball if you don't want to. They have been able to pick up this much yardage running, but at the same time they can throw. O'Gorman not sure what's going to be coming on the 3rd and 5 situation.
Tom Hill was there to make the stop on that last play. Nice run by Haub, gaining 8, and he's in the shotgun for 3rd and 5. Watch the quarterback draw. And that's exactly what's coming. Haub up the middle, awfully close, and with that spot, Mike, I'm pretty sure he's got it.
It's going to be very, very close. I think it was Cacaro came up and made the tackle. Cacaro's still down on the field now, efforting to get up. Chris Buller going to take him up, but indeed on that spot, it is 1st down for the Washington Warriors, and it is Cacaro coming off.
After 1st and 23, huge conversion for the Warriors.
And again, that clock continues to run too. That's one of the things Washington would love to see. Keep it a shorter second half.
But I'm sure Kim Nelson realizes after that last drive by O'Gorman, Washington's going to have to score again to win this game. 20 points, probably not going to do it. Out of the shotgun, the option again. I'm not so sure that wasn't a forward pitch on the option, Mike, but it worked out. And, Washington picks up a couple.
That was extremely close. I'm pretty sure it was parallel if it was not forward. It was very dangerous by Haub to kick it out to John Bull, but
take another look at it, and we'll see. Haub pitches it right here at the 37. Bull grabs it near the 39. So
that looked pretty forward.
You be the judge,
Yeah.
but that clearly was not a lateral. No NFL instant replay. We're not going to spend 20 minutes like the Music City Miracle or
That's
anything
right.
on this play. So they give the Warriors the 2 yards. And Hobb on the option looked like he nearly lost the ball and slipped down right at the 45, right at the line of scrimmage.
I think that ball came out and popped right back up to him. Very fortunate for Hobb that it did. But
it almost looked like Hobb braced the ball on the field to keep his balance on this play.
But now a big third down conversion opportunity. You can see.
You see Hobbs' left leg came out and he used the ball to catch himself.
You're right.
So 3rd and 9 from just short of the 45. Yet another huge play for the O+Gorman D. Hobb with Bull behind him. Straight drop. Looking for a man, still looking, being chased. He's going to take off. What a tackle in the open field by Joe Mahoney, who's having a huge game.
Joe Mahoney with an excellent tackle out there. Not only did he have an excellent
Chris
tackle.
Buller is down. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mike, but Chris Buller back at the line of scrimmage is in some serious pain.
Not only did Mahoney shed his block, but then he made the perfect tackle because he was the only man who was going to be able to keep Hobb from picking up that first down, and indeed he did. Chris Buller, you never like to see that.
Buller is moving the left leg all over, and the right leg is still. That's the reaction a lot of people have when they hurt a knee.
Chris Buller, one of the better all-around athletes at O+Gorman High School, served as a starter on their basketball team last year as a junior. One of the few returners that the O+Gorman Knights are going to have with their basketball program this year.
See Buller still, I really can't tell. It almost looks like they're looking up at his chest, but obviously very tough to tell from 30, 40 yards off the field.
One of the things that has improved so much over the course of the years is the outstanding medical care that these high school kids get. A lot of the trainers in the area are actually trained at the hospitals in the area to help out with the medical emergencies that do occur on the field, and plus doctors standing by as well. And that's really one of the nice things we've seen over the course of the last 15 or 20 years across the state of South Dakota.
And again, the legs on Buller not really moving his right leg a whole lot, so that may be where they're looking. His O+Gorman teammates looking on, obviously hoping that the starting tight end and linebacker going to be all right.
And Buller also one of the real emotional leaders on this team, and one of the few returners that saw an awful lot of varsity action, but that is
you
a
can
leg.
tell it's the right leg, and he's putting absolutely no weight on that right leg, and just now starting to put a little weight on it. Not to speculate, Mike, but I've blown out a knee, and that's what I looked like after I did it.
Yep, you certainly
Well,
hope.
except I wasn't that big or in that good of shape. But other than that.
Yeah, you certainly hope that that is a sprain, a very painful sprain, but we will see. I would anticipate that we're not going to see Mr. Buller back on the field this evening.
All right, again, Ryan Gunn is down on the sidelines, and he will certainly check it out, see what the deal is with Mr. Buller, and we will get that to you as quickly as we can.
Big fourth
but for
down
now,
here.
a huge fourth down. Kind of surprising. Washington going on 4th and 3 from just across midfield. Hobb will throw for it. Fantastic defensive play over on the far sideline. Mike, it looked to me to be Andrew Wilka.
It was. Number 31, Andrew Wilka, comes up with the defensive play. The 5'9" junior. Look at the replay. Good throw by Hobb. He's looking over on the right side. Wilka, excellent timing.
One thing, great play by Wilka, but Nick Hobb never moved his head. Looking at one receiver the whole way, and Wilka just broke on the ball.
And that is huge now, too, with O+Gorman moving the ball so successfully on their last drive. Now they've got short field.
O+Gorman from the 49. And Tom Hill drops it, falls on it himself at the 45. 2nd down and 14 for the Knights. After the way they moved the ball on the first drive, certainly a tough start to this one.
Hill drops the ball, ends up with Ryan Schuler right on top of him. But it will be very interesting here as we've got 2:15 to play. That just a missed handoff, and Hill fortunate right on top of the ball.
Very quick third quarter thus far. Knights face 2nd and 14. They end around again to Lions. It's worked for the touchdown twice. This time they only get a yard.
And Austin Parks read it out perfectly and stayed at home. That is one of the things that Washington had to work on those counters. Stay in your area. Do not be too anxious to rush to the ball. Parks did an excellent job of staying where he needed to be and letting the ball come to him.
Good news over on the O'Gorman sideline. Chris Buller is jogging now, putting some definite weight on the right leg. Again, we'll get the word to you as soon as we can on his situation. 3rd and 13. Here's the lateral complete across midfield, taken by Kappenman to about the 46-yard line, but it'll be 4th and 5 for O'Gorman. And rather than give Washington the short field, well, maybe they will. O'Gorman sending Tom Hill back out, but remember, Tom Hill is also the punter. Take another look at this play where Kappenman takes that backwards pass, makes a nice little gain out of it. Tom Hill is indeed dropping back into punt formation. But again, Washington not dropping anybody back just yet. I'm not sure they believe O'Gorman will punt.
They are going to watch for the fake.
Hill does kick it with no safeties back. It'll depend on the bounce. This one very close to the corner. Unbelievable. Tom Hill puts it out at the 1.
Unbelievable punt. What a job by Tom Hill. That was exactly where he was aiming it, and boy, great job.
That is why when your fans are screaming, go, go, go on 4th down, you don't go.
You better believe it. Excellent job there. And now Washington with 99 yards to go. Watch this thing skip. I mean, it just dances. Big hop, that's what you need, and out of bounds it goes.
Couldn't have placed it more perfectly with his hand. Unreal kick by Tom Hill. Officially, it'll go down as a 45-yarder. So Nick Hobb operating from his goal line. Got to expect it to go right up the middle. Hobb keeps it, gets a little breathing room. The Warriors get out to the 5. If nothing else, if you're Washington here, you want a couple of first downs. And so if you do indeed have to kick the ball, O'Gorman doesn't start at the 50.
But we're seeing the timeline down. Washington, as we say, would like nothing better than just to see that clock roll, pick up a couple of first downs, take your chances.
One other thing that may have helped by that kick by Tom Hill, stiff breeze here at Howard Wood. Hill was kicking with it. The Warriors are going into it for one more play here in the 4th, or the 3rd, I should say. John Bull, he gets one of those first downs. Had the ball a little loose out there, but does hang on to it. Gets to the 15-yard line. They'll stop the clock to move the chains, but once they restart it, that will be the final play of the 3rd quarter. O'Gorman gets a touchdown and has looked very good on offense and special teams here in the 3rd. The Warriors, though, still hold the lead. 20-15. The Knights and their fans rev up for the 4th quarter of the 24th annual Dakota Bowl. Washington leads by 5 with its unbeaten record on the line. You're watching News Center 1 Sports on PAX 18 statewide.
Do it this way?
This live News Center 1 Sports broadcast is brought to you by Midcontinent Communications, connecting you to the future. Let's go quickly down to Ryan Gunn on the sideline as the Warriors get ready to run their first down play.
Welcome back. A real quick injury report to give you. O'Gorman defensive end Chris Buller has a strained knee, which he suffered when he was down on that on the defensive possession last time. He will return. They say it's just a strain, and he's going to be all right. Back to Gabe and Mike.
All right, thanks a lot, Ryan. Certainly good news for O'Gorman, just a strain, but Buller still walking very gingerly over on the sideline.
Good news and surprising news, the way he was coming off the field.
First down play netted 4 for the Warriors, so 2nd down and 6 from their own 19. Hobb in the shotgun. We've seen this formation a few times. They've run out of it almost every time. They do again. The handoff to Nordquist gets nothing. 3rd and 6. That's Bull, not Nordquist, sorry.
Went nowhere on a good defensive play over on the far side of the line. I couldn't quite pick up the number. He's being blocked by his teammates over there, but excellent job of reading and again staying home. And You're right. You got to figure, Gabe, at one point they're going to be in the shotgun, and he is actually going to throw it because O'Gorman knows the same things we do. He's run every time, or someone has run out of that formation.
So it's 3rd and 6. Big play for the Knights. Hobb will throw over the middle. Nelson too high. I think the Washington fans might have wanted a flag, but that ball wasn't catchable regardless of whether he got hit or not.
And again, similar situation. Nick Hobb, from the moment that ball was snapped, he had his eyes on Joey Nelson running the crossing pattern and locked in on him. Good coverage provided it once again by Wilka in that defensive backfield, and O'Gorman going to get the ball back with 10:40 to play.
And in good field position, Cacaro at his own 45. Hansen will kick into the, well, now the wind has turned around a little bit, getting a little help from it. Cacaro runs up to take it exactly at midfield, just heads straight up and gets to the Washington 42. So for the second straight possession, the Knights a very short field to try and take the lead.
Boy, this is the one thing that Washington did not want to see happen, turning the ball back over to the O'Gorman offense, and the offense setting up shop at the 42-yard line. 1st down and 10 with 10.5 minutes to play here in this ball game.
Tom Hill will go on the attack once again at quarterback for the Knights. Fake the handoff. Hill's going to throw. Deep downfield miscommunication, and the interception was dropped. The Washington coach is screaming for a catch, but the interception was dropped. Clearly miscommunication on that play between Hill and his receiver, Mike.
Yep, Mahoney went and did a down and out. I think Hill thought that he was going to go down, out, and up. Watch this play. The defensive back for Washington will be right there. Did he catch it? No, he didn't.
Nope, never had possession, and that is one that the Warriors will want back.
You better believe it.
No do-overs, though, in football. 2nd and 10. Handoff right up the middle. We're going to see a flag. We can hear, again, the coach next to us saying he was running forward. Man in motion was moving toward the line of scrimmage. That's only legal if you play for the Sioux Falls Storm.
And I'm wondering what they will do on this particular penalty because
Gorman only got a yard. It could be 3rd and 9.
It is procedure.
Interesting to see whether the Warriors want to have 3rd and 9 or give them the extra down and put them in 2nd and 14.
Nope, they are going to go ahead and refuse this.
So Hill has 3rd and 9 again. So many times we've seen him roll out and look to run in this situation. Last time, though, in a 4th down situation, he went right down the middle to his tight end, Chris Buller. Buller still on the sidelines, though, trying to loosen up.
Yeah, Buller not an option on this play. Instead, in the lineup is number 15. That's Kenny Doyle, the backup tight end, 6 foot 165 and a junior.
Hill will throw. Deep downfield, turned his receiver around. It's Lions. Great play by Ryan Routh to pick it off. Washington, though, will start it at its 4, but a very nice interception. Almost Lions was turned one way, and Hill threw it over the wrong shoulder.
And Routh with an outstanding job of making up for that interception that was dropped. There was a flag down on the play. However, it's back at the line of scrimmage. It's going to go against O'Gorman, and it will be, of course, turned down. It was a holding penalty on O'Gorman, but Washington gets the football back.
Take another look as Hill has all kinds of time, but kind of spun his receiver around, Mike.
And a great job by Kapperman staying back in, helping out on Schuler. But yeah, you're right, wrong shoulder. And Routh with just a great reaction there.
So the ball at the Washington 4, as good as a punt, really, Mike. I mean, on 3rd down, certainly you don't want to turn the ball over, but it doesn't really hurt O'Gorman that badly.
No, it doesn't. That got the Warriors backed up against their own goal line. So, yeah, O'Gorman can live with that turnover.
Hobb with the misdirection play. Nordquist slips, and he's actually going to lose a yard on 1st down.
You know, last night we had some rain out here at Howard Wood Field, and the field was slick, of course, for that Roosevelt and Lincoln game that you saw here on PAX 18 statewide. Tonight, though, we have seen all day long. It has been nice and dry, so we haven't really seen any of the slipping conditions that we saw last evening. One thing, this field looks very good, but trust me, the roots are not very deep on the grass.
Well,
on
and remember,
Howard
there
Wood.
are 6 teams that play here, so
Yep.
it's only the 3rd week of the season, but this field is already torn up. 2nd down and 11. They faked the end around. Hobb to throw out of his end zone. Mahoney was bearing down on him. Hobb got rid of it. Incomplete blanket coverage out there by O+Gorman. Number 23 not listed in our program, so maybe I'm misreading his number. But
That is Justin Pins that was back there on it. Justin, the junior defensive back, was able to make that coverage.
And Hobb just about got drilled.
He did, but excellent throw here. But Pins back there on the defensive coverage. They had 2 men going, and once again, Hobb locks into that left side of the field that time. He had Nelson on the other side.
3rd and 11 from the 4. O+Gorman needs a stop. Washington's just got to get out of the shadow of the goalpost. They hand it to Bull. He's got a hole. He gets to the 10, but is upended there on a nice tackle again by Andrew Wilka, who's made a couple big plays in the 4th quarter.
Andrew Wilka coming off the bench tonight, not a starter, but he has really made some, or excuse me, he is a starter, but has really made some very big plays this evening from that linebacker and cornerback position. He has played excellent football for the Knights.
This time, Cacaro at his own 45, at the Washington 45. The ball just keeps moving a little closer to the Washington end zone on every change of possession. Cacaro will catch this one at the 46. It is returnable. Straight up the gut to the 34, and that's one thing that I like about the way Cacaro returns punts. At the worst, if you go straight up field from midfield, you're going to end up at the other team's 40. Don't mess around trying to make moves.
That's exactly right. No point heading east-west with your running. Just get up the field, take advantage of the fact that you are receiving it in good position in the first place. Every step forward you take is just a found step, and now, once again, the Knights are in business here. And the 1st down and 10 yards to go.
The 3rd consecutive drive O+Gorman has started in Washington territory. The Warrior defense is held on the first 2. And the Warriors jump.
That is going to be, is that 64?
Tom
Yeah.
Jensen.
Tom Jensen, who is in the lineup now, the 6'1", 195-pound senior. He got a little anxious there.
I've said it once, I'll say it again. These kids probably enjoy having their games called on television until they commit a penalty.
No question about it.
And the coach can now see that on tape, just in case he didn't know who it was to begin with.
And Jensen, by
But
the way,
he
in there,
probably did.
in there for Ryan Schuler.
Handoff up the middle. It's Kappenman busted inside the 20. The Knights down to the 18. And Mike is going to go down to the wire.
It's the Dakota Bowl, Gabe. We got to know that that's going to happen, and you can sense the dread over on the Washington sideline as O+Gorman with the football. They trail it 20-15, and the clock rolling with 8:19 to play in the game.
The number of O+Gorman fans into this one, and great block. Look at John Lyons taking out his man, and right up the middle goes Kappenman. So Lyons has run the ball well, but helping in another way here. 1st and 10 from the 19. It's Kappenman again. The fullback dive gets 6.
Nothing fancy in the O+Gorman offense at this point. Again, just running those counters and the dives that you know that O+Gorman has run, as we say, for the last 30 years or so. And excellent job, though, of execution by those offensive linemen. You don't have to knock your man down. You just have to give your running back a little bit of room.
2nd and 4 for O+Gorman. Cacaro in motion. Hill will keep. He gets outside. 10. Takes a hit at the 6, but he's got a 1st down.
And a great job by Hill of eluding John Bull, who I thought had an angle on him, but Tom Hill very quick at that quarterback position.
And let's take another look. at this play. Tom Hill reminds me of Tommy Flieger last year. He's just too fast.
That's right. He gets around. Here comes Bull, and Bull just can't reach him. And so it is going to be a first down. There is a Washington player down on the sideline that was in on the tackle.
And there were a number of them over there, and with the crowd of trainers gathered around him, no way to tell what the number is at this point.
Head coach Kim Nelson now coming over on the field.
Well, now he's up. It's Ryan Routh, and looked like he just either got a stinger, had the wind knocked out of him. Ryan Routh fortunately up and trotting back to the sideline with Kim Nelson.
There was an awful lot of bodies that piled on top of Ryan there. He was towards the bottom of that tackle, and hopefully just the wind knocked out of him. But a first down and goal to go for the O'Gorman Knights.
So the Knights have 4 cracks to take the lead from the 6. Hill puts Lyons in motion and hands it to him. Lyons gets to the 5, and that's all.
Good defensive play by John Bull. That time he made sure to get to the actual runner. Also, Ryan Schuler is back in there defensively for the Washington Warriors.
Hill once again brings the play back on the field. You see, it was a hole momentarily.
Yep.
Filled nicely by John Bull.
John did a great job of closing that hole.
So it's 2nd and goal from the 5. Again, you don't expect anything fancy, but it is a perfect situation for the play action pass. Motion somewhere.
Let's see what the call is. It's procedure against the O'Gorman Knights.
So that will move the Knights back 5, make it 2nd and 10, and make things a little more difficult on Steve Keeter and his staff. Not quite so many options now.
One of the things that we are seeing, too, O'Gorman normally goes with their offensive guards shuttling the plays in back and forth. Now they're just going straight to the source. Tom Hill is coming to the sideline for the play each and every time. Normally you see Kinsella and Mahoney alternating with the plays from the bench.
So a big weekend in high school football. Both of the top 2 teams in the state struggling. Yankton pulled out a win last night. Can Washington do the same? Oh, what a perfectly timed blitz by John Bull.
John Bull coming up big on 2 successive plays. Excellent job from his middle linebackers position.
It looked like John Bull maybe tapped Tom Hill on the shoulder and said, "What's the snap count here?"
Look at that.
He comes right through.
Shoots the gap perfectly, and not only that, was not too anxious to get up the field, was able to actually grab Hill, toss him down. Big 3rd down right here.
3rd and goal from the 15.
And you certainly know that this is 4-down territory, but it would certainly help if you were able to pick up 7, 8, 9 yards on this particular play, as we're now under 6 minutes to play in the game.
Washington crowding the line of scrimmage. Hill escapes once, but not twice. The first man through again was John Bull.
John Bull has had a sensational defensive stand right here. 3 successive plays, and that was after he had gotten burned by taking a bad angle on the corner on Tom Hill to get the ball down to 1st and goal. But boy, has John Bull redeemed himself. Nearing the 5-minute mark here. 4th down and goal, the ball at the 20-yard line.
O'Gorman obviously got to take the shot at the end zone right now. And I'd expect a jump ball to Mahoney in this situation.
Not a bad idea. He's got to be your go-to guy.
Hill just puts it up down the middle of the field. Knocked down. Was it Bull again?
Nope, it was Parks on that one, but he knocked it down, and great celebration going on over on the Washington sideline. They feel like maybe they've dodged some of this O'Gorman magic.
And let's give the Washington defense some serious credit. 3 drives have started at the Washington 45, the Washington 42, and the Washington 34. And when Austin Parks bats this pass down, it's the 3rd straight drive that has stopped. And Austin Parks not alone. The defensive line, great pressure, as you saw.
Outstanding job, and also good decision. I don't know if it was a conscious decision by Parks, but don't catch that ball. Just go ahead and take it out at the 20.
2 or 3 first downs will end this game. Nordquist slips.
Wow. Nordquist slips down, and that is...
We've seen it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
They're probably a little questionable right now on the field.
But both of the times here in the last couple of drives have been Nordquist. That play had some potential, but Nordquist just slipped down. Again, however, the clock continues to roll. By the time this play is done, we'll be under 4 minutes.
But O'Gorman does have all 3 timeouts left. You see Nordquist again. Back to live action. It's 2nd and 11. Running back in motion on that end around once again is Garrett Hansen. He crosses the 20 to the 21, but it's 3rd and 9. Steve Keeter saving his timeouts. Doesn't want to use them now. Still nearly 4 minutes to play. And if they get a stop here, again, you'd expect O'Gorman to get the ball near the 40 or 50-yard line.
And Joe Mahoney with a great job of fighting off his block. Not the best job of reading there by Garrett Hansen, the ball carrier. You'd think if he would have gone outside one more block, he might have been able to pick up some yardage. But Joe Mahoney playing a heck of a game on both sides of the ball.
Watch single coverage on the near side of the field on this play. Nordquist is going to pitch it. He's going to throw. Wide open is Nelson. From the 50 to the 40. You knew, Mike, that when Nordquist got that pitch, there's no way they're running a pitch on 3rd and 9. You just knew it.
Absolutely, and as you called it on the right side, Joey Nelson had one-on-one coverage over there.
He had one-on-none coverage by the end of the play.
The minute that the pitch was made, Wilka, who has done such a nice job coming up and supporting the run defense, he bit the ball a little bit underthrown by Nordquist. Otherwise, Nelson takes that to the house. But a good job by the O'Gorman defense of catching up to Joey Nelson, but that was huge.
Again, Wilka's had a great game, and it's a tough play, but you've got to know they're not going to run the pitch on 3rd down and 9. Hop hands it off to Bull. A little confusion on that play. Bull picks up 2, and now I think Steve Keeter's got to consider start using his timeouts defensively.
There is now 3 minutes exactly to play in the football game, and the Warriors with the ball and that 5-point lead.
Take another look at Jordan Nordquist taking the pitch. He has not had a very successful game running the ball, but this makes up for all of that. The huge 3rd down conversion. There's not a night in the picture.
Wilka with the good hustle getting back into the play.
Hansen goes in motion. They fake to him, hand to Bull. Straight ahead for 2. It's going to be 3rd and 7. And so O'Gorman still can get the ball back. They just won't have nearly the field position they would have. Hey, Mike, are you surprised Keeter's not using the timeouts defensively?
I'm a little bit surprised, but I anticipate that once we get to that 2-minute mark, then he will. And also, if I'm Kim Nelson here, this is 4-down territory for me.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to just keep that play clock running as much as possible.
Unless he has a guy that he's confident can kick the 40-yard field goal. Even that wouldn't necessarily end it. It would only make it an 8-point lead. Bob sends Hansen in motion. Fakes to him. Will put it up. Complete to the 10.
Was that McKeag that came up with the catch?
I think that's right. Dan McKeag, the tight end. First time we've called his name tonight. A huge catch, and now even the 3 O'Gorman timeouts probably aren't enough.
Probably not. That might have cinched it right there, but you know what? Washington would like to just go ahead and take this in. Great job. Quick drop, the fire over the middle to McKeag, the catch, and he hangs on to the ball despite a big hit.
1st and goal from the 10. Hobb will hand it off to Nordquist. 4 yards. He's down, and
O'Gorman not using their
still
timeouts.
Not calling the timeout, Mike. I don't understand. You don't want to end the game with 3 timeouts.
Clock keeps rolling here, now down to 1:20.
It'll be under a minute before they have to snap this ball. What's the rationale here? If you let them score, the game's over too.
You're almost at the point where you can just start taking a knee if O'Gorman isn't going to.
If they're not going to call the timeouts,
call the
why not?
because now there is under a minute to play, and you technically would have 3 downs.
Hobb will milk the play clock for all it's worth. He'll go ahead and hand it off to Bull. Bull's going to score. Who cares about the timeouts? Washington just won the game.
Washington is going to be undefeated after the 3rd week of the season. And I tell you what, Gabe, there are an awful lot of people over on that Washington sideline breathing a big sigh of relief. Not only did the defense come up huge on that 1st and goal situation, but then the big plays and marching it down the field for the clinching score.
We also got to stop and think about, though, this is supposed to be a down year for O+Gorman, and they just took the top team in the state to the last minute.
Absolutely true. And here's the final touchdown run by Big John Bull as into the end zone he goes. That makes it 26-15 lead.
Has an individual player had as good a quarter as John Bull just finished. 3 huge defensive plays on the 1st and goal situation and the touchdown to ice it.
Nice job by the senior fullback. And tell you what, that's also when we talk about good teams respond when their backs are against the wall. Also, there are a ton of seniors on that Washington sideline, and they stepped it up big time in this 4th period.
Kim Nelson, as I said, lamented his last year's team's lack of ability to finish. This team does not have that problem. They got the ball with over 5 minutes left, drove it down the field, took more than 4 minutes, and put the stake into O+Gorman. That would be S-T-A-K-E,
yeah.
S-T-E-A-K.
Yeah, talk about a team that finished. I'd say Washington is going to be extremely happy with this outcome. As a matter of fact, I think we're going to see some students actually storming the field.
Which technically it's O+Gorman's home field tonight,
right.
But it's also their home field, so not quite as exciting as if you get to do it on the other teams.
And O+Gorman will go to 18-6 in Dakota Bowls.
The last 2 losses to Washington, and as Ryan Gunn mentioned, Washington the only team to have a winning record in the Dakota Bowl. They were 3-2. They're now 4-2.
And I'm willing to bet that Steve Keeter is going to say, you know what? Let's stop inviting them. Give somebody else a call. Let's get them out of the rotation for a while.
But Steve Keeter cannot be upset with the way his team played. Battled, and 1 or 2 plays, and O+Gorman wins this game.
Steve Keeter has said all along that they're not very big and they're not very fast, and they're also not very experienced. But, you know, when you take a look, as you said, exactly, but as you said, they gave Washington all they wanted and then some tonight.
Hill will throw, still battling down to the last minute. Lyons makes the catch, and now Keeter uses the timeout.
Ryan Rout back out there, makes the tackle on the receiver. Nice job there by Ryan, and good to see him back into the lineup.
If you've got to single out 2 guys tonight, Mike, I think on the defensive side of the ball, you look at John Bull, and offensively, he didn't do a ton, but Joey Nelson made the 2 biggest catches of the game.
You better believe it. And Nelson coming up big. You know that the seniors over there are very excited to ruin the Dakota Bowl for the O+Gorman fans. Yeah, Joey Nelson, he was open on a couple of occasions, ends up with the touchdown and the big gainer here in the 4th period to really seal the deal for the Washington Warriors.
And hard to say when you look at the O+Gorman fans that the night has exactly been ruined. I think they had a pretty good time, but they lost the game.
I think they had a ball, but everybody measures the success of the Dakota Bowl in terms of wins and losses.
Hill rolling right. He'll take off with it. Doesn't get much. Be 3rd down and 3. Keeter uses another timeout. The clock stops with 22.8 seconds to play. And even in the most miraculous of finishes, Mike, I'm sorry, Craig was last night.
That's all right.
I don't see a 64-yard touchdown, an onside kick, and then a 55-yard touchdown in the cards in the next 23 seconds.
No, I have to agree with you that would be one of the bigger miracles we've seen in a while, but no, I just don't see that happening. The Washington Warriors are going to end up winning this. Right now, what Kim Nelson is talking to his team about, he really wants to see these guys finish strong, make sure that they make the right decisions, make sure that they make a good, solid tackle. And that was an excellent job. For instance, that last time, yes, you gave up a few yards to Hill, but you kept him in bounds, made him use the timeout. So finish the night strong and don't start celebrating too early.
Well, Washington certainly will be able to celebrate a little bit in 23 seconds. A huge win for the Knights. They've now played 3 games, or for the Warriors. They've played 3 games all here at Howard Wood. They've won them all. The pass intended for Mahoney bounced off the thigh of Lyons and incomplete.
It does fall incomplete, and there to almost pick up the rebound was Colin Zendik, but not able to hang on. That was would have taken pretty quick hands on Colin's part.
Kind of an odd bounce here. There you see Mahoney was open.
Yep.
And so was Lyons. He just wasn't looking. So it'll be 4th and 3. The Knights have to get a first down to extend it. Otherwise, Washington will get the ball and be able to take a knee and end the game.
One of the nice things about this is it's going to clear out the parking lot a little bit early.
It is a first down. That's Lyons once again. Down to or near midfield at the 48-yard line, but just prolonging the inevitable at this point.
Now it says the Knights
will use their final timeout.
Yeah, it says on the board that they've got 2, but they are using their final timeout. They have burned all 3 of them here. But yeah, a lot of folks heading off to the exits early. However, I also know that just because people showed up out here at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock this morning to start tailgating, that doesn't mean they have quit tailgating. You'll still see cars out in the parking lot at 1 o'clock tomorrow morning.
How about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning? Just make it a 24-hour deal.
Pretty good chance of that happening also.
The Knights have 1, maybe 2 more plays left in this 24th Dakota Bowl.
Very gallant effort on the behalf of the Knights, but a very impressive win by the Washington Warriors. And looking forward to next week, we'll have more high school football. Roosevelt taking on Spearfish.
The Knights will slip to 2-1 as Tom Hill picks up a first down and quite a bit more. Still on his feet inside the 25 of the Warriors. 1.4 seconds left. I don't think they'll have time to get to the line of scrimmage and run another play.
I don't think so either, but again, that's probably something that the Knights, or that the Warriors were talking about, is being able to finish, and I don't think Kim was real pleased with that particular play.
The Knights slipped to 2-1, but I wouldn't be surprised when the polls come out to see them pick up quite a few votes either. There's the snap. They spike the ball and don't have any time left. That's it for Steve Keeter's team. The clock, well, let's see. The officials might put a 1/10 of a second back on the clock.
They are. They're going to put a 1/10 of a second back on, so that means that the Washington fans have to get back into the stands. They are going to have essentially an untimed down here after the spike by
Can you score 12
Hill.
points on an untimed down?
I don't know of any way possible to do that. But
well,
still,
last week we saw an untimed down, and it resulted in a win for the Chiefs, which I have to work into the air here. The wildest NFL finish ever, but I don't think they can get 2 touchdowns on 1 down.
I don't think so.
Tom Hill will toss it up into the end zone. Mahoney in triple coverage can't come up with it. So there it is. The Washington Warriors storm the field to celebrate a 27-15 win in the Dakota Bowl. We'll be back with post-game reaction. You're watching News Center 1 Sports on Max 18 statewide. This News Center 1 Sports broadcast has been brought to you by Mid-Continent Communications. Mid-Continent Communications connecting you to the future. Once again, the Washington Warriors, a 27-15 winner of the Bob Burns Dakota Bowl, spoiling it for the host, Sioux Falls O+Gorman Knights. And we are going to get a little post-game reaction here. Ryan Gunn down on the field with one of the stars.
Cool. What's up, dude? Thanks, guys. I'm standing here with the star of the game, fullback John Bull. 3 touchdowns. You know, last week it's Jordan Nordquist. He throws 2 in the end zone. This week you come out with 3. It's pretty tough to stop your attack when you have 2 players of your talent level that can put up those kind of numbers.
Yeah, it's just, you got great linemen. It's pretty easy when you got those big boys just knocking over everybody. They just make it real easy to run through there.
All right, now, how important was it for you to come to the Dakota Bowl? It's obviously a huge event for O+Gorman. Their fans are into it. Everyone's into it. And then you guys can still manage to be successful. I'm sure you know you're the only school that has a winning record in O+Gorman. How important was that for the players to maintain that winning mark in the Dakota Bowl?
Well, we knew they were pretty pumped up because this is their bowl game, so we just tried matching their intensity. And we started off a little sluggish first quarter, but we matched it up pretty well and came out with a victory.
John, and by the way, John Bull, what a great name for a fullback. John, is anyone going to beat you guys this year?
The only people that are going to beat us is ourselves. We come out prepared every week and we'll be good.
All right, John, thanks a million. Have a great time tonight, and congratulations on the victory. We're going to bring in Coach Kim Nelson, who's standing by right here. And Coach Nelson, there have been 24 Dakota Bowls. When O'Gorman plays anyone but Washington, they're 16-2. When they play Washington, they're only 2-4. How special is it for you to know that you're part of the school that is the only one that have had a lot of success against O'Gorman in this game?
Well, I think it's just a typical city rivalry football game. You know, anytime we play each other in the city, there's going to be a wild ball game and a great football game. And, you know, this was an awesome night. You know, the crowd was into it on both sides. And, you know, we made some bonehead plays. I made some bonehead calls, and we made up for it at the end with a great play by Jordan. And, you know, our kids really rallied at the end. Our defense came up with some huge plays to turn the field position around for us. And, you know, I'm really happy that we won, and I'm really proud of our players because they overcame some of my bad calls and won the game anyway.
And don't let him confuse you with this bad call stuff. This is the same guy who had the gutsy halfback option pass at the end of the game. I mean, now that took a lot of guts, and obviously it paid off. It pretty much sealed the game. Was there any hesitation coming off with a big call like that down in your own zone?
Well, I was pretty sure we would convert it, you know, just because of the situation. It was certainly going to be unexpected, and I just knew that if Jordan had time to get it off, it was going to have a pretty good chance of being successful. You know, I had to make up for not punting the ball at midfield and getting us in bad field position. We had to change the field position somehow with 3 or 4 minutes to go in the ball game, and I thought that was our best chance to do it.
All right, Coach, last question. Last week, Jordan Nordquist, 2 touchdowns. This week, John Bull, your other running back, 3 touchdowns. It's unfair that you guys have 2 players like that. They can put these kind of numbers up, isn't it?
It's not unfair at all. No, they're gonna make me a good coach before the year's over, I hope. And I just know that any one of our guys in the backfield can carry the mail. And, you know, John did it tonight. Jordan's going to do it for us. He made a couple big plays as well. They're going to key on one of them, and they can't key on both of them, I don't think. And I think Nick Hobb, our quarterback, can run the football, and our other running backs, Aaron Stanga and Garrett Hansen, are threats. Our receivers made some plays in the second half for us. I just think that we've got good balance in our team, and I hope we can keep it going.
Congratulations. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thanks a lot.
All right, we're going back up to the booth with Gabe and Mike.
All right, thanks a lot, Ryan. Coach Nelson, certainly a nice win for his Washington Warriors. Again, 27-15 the final. And what we're going to do is step aside just for a minute. Mike and I will be back to wrap things up, look ahead a little bit in the high school football season. You're watching News Center 1 Sports on PAX 18 statewide. I'm at Howard Wood Field in Sioux Falls, where the Washington Warriors have wrapped up a 27-15 win over the O'Gorman Knights to solidify their spot as the #1 team in the state. Under question much of the night, Mike, but the halfback option pass from Jordan Nordquist sealed the deal, and then John Bull took it in.
A lot of folks, when they read the Sunday paper tomorrow, are going to look at the score and think that Washington had their way in this one. That was certainly not the case, and a huge, huge call to get the ball on the halfback option. A great play by Nordquist, a nice pass to hit a wide-open Joey Nelson. Outstanding football game tonight.
Once again, folks, the Warriors go to 3-0. The O'Gorman Knights 2-1. Next Friday night from here in Sioux Falls, it's the Roosevelt Rough Riders 2-1, hosting the Spearfish Spartans 2-1. Should be another good one. Until then, for Ryan Gunn, for Mike Hendrickson, for the entire PAX 18 statewide crew, I'm Gabe DeArmond from Howard Wood Field in Sioux Falls. Thanks for watching. After this, we will return you to your regularly scheduled PAX programming.